till
What
you're,
is
like,
the point of being a YouTuber if you haven't sold your soul
Exactly.
to Google?
Exactly.
What's the point? Ricefield, 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 Ricefield.
That's a good start. that's gonna be the cold
Leave
open.
that in.
The One Piece. The One Piece is real.
Can we get much higher?
All right, Joseph.
Hi. Don't ever call me that again. Yes, hello.
How you doing?
I'm
Thanks
alright,
for
man.
coming in. Thanks for coming in into the new Drink Sake studio.
Hell yeah. Is this the new Drink Sake studio?
This is the new Drink Sake studio.
Are you sure this isn't the Geeks Plus studio that has been used 3 times?
I've claimed it now. That's my
Oh,
own.
okay.
You can see the straw hat here.
Oh, okay. Let me wear that.
Oh,
then.
let's
There we
go. Oh, we're on theme, bro.
I have to. It's the One Piece podcast.
Let's go.
There we go.
Well, it suits you pretty well.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, today for the first time, in a tradition of the name of the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I have actually brought some of the name.
Okay,
beverage.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, you have a podcast called, this is called Drink Sake, and I don't think I've seen you drink sake.
It is a bad time. So I'm actually gonna. I ordered, like, I got some of the actual Sakazuki cups, which they use in One Piece. To,
Oh, nice.
Become brothers.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
thought, that's the spirit of the podcast.
Right on.
Kampai, become brothers.
Thank you.
Let me get some too.
It is 3 PM, ladies and gentlemen.
That is the right time for some sake.
Yeah, cheers. Kanpai.
Yes, Kampai.
Mm.
That is good.
We see.
There's the good Furusato Noze sake that you can get here in Japan. So one of the maybe the only upside of having incredibly high tax rates in Japan.
What, the Furusato Noze?
The Furusato Noze.
Is it bad that I haven't signed up for yet?
I think so. I
Yeah.
did it the first time this year, and I was like, I've just been missing out on free stuff. Like,
Do
ever since
you
moving
want
to
to explain to the audience what the
Yes.
Furusato Noze even
Yes.
is?
So basically, Japan has this system where everyone who pays taxes has the right to have a certain percentage. I think it's like there's like some weird formula behind it, but it's like roughly like 15% or 10%
Right.
of your expected tax payment that you can basically order food and like they have a lot of stuff on these websites.
Yeah, you can get like food,
Yeah.
drinks, you can some places and the whole point is that like it's also supporting like local like makers and like farmers and agricultural places and
Exactly.
stuff like that.
So
right?
you get like really nice stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like severely overpriced. So you get
Yeah.
like 500 grams of tomatoes for like 10,000 or 20,000
yeah,
yen.
yeah.
But the point is, like, you get a little bit for free because you can basically write that off your taxes. But then you basically, it's more like, yeah, I think that's the idea, is like you make a donation to like some of the, like countryside, like cities and farmers support
Yeah,
them.
it's basically the way to like for people like city folk to help the country folk
Yes.
in different ways,
Yeah.
while also helping the economy in one way or another.
Yeah.
I guess.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's cool.
You should do it.
I
It's
should,
really
yeah,
good.
because I've seen like my friends like get like boxes and boxes of like vegetables and like fruits, and I would do it
Yeah.
for fruits actually, because if there's one thing in Japan that I miss doing is eating fruit.
I feel like it's so expensive
It's
here
so
too.
expensive.
Like they only have these insanely fancy apples that cost
Yeah, the
like,
Fujiringo,
yeah.
right? Which is like 260 yen per apple or something.
I think it might be even more.
I mean, some of them
like
are,
the
yeah.
big ones.
Well,
like
right now it's January now. I'm sorry for dating the episode, but like right now in Japan,
what?
right now in Japan, it
This comes out in August.
yeah. It's like 2027. It's like right now, strawberries are in season, and there's like a ton of different like strawberry brands, and some of them you can get like it's like a pack of like 12 or 15 strawberries for like I don't know 500 yen or something. It's pretty nice, and then you can go to like the extremes. You can get like Amao, which is like the fucking Louis Vuitton of strawberries, and they're like I saw one. I went to a supermarket yesterday. I saw a packet of five strawberries for 1,700 yen.
Actually, okay, so that's like what, like $12 ish.
You were rough, yeah, USD. It's
Yeah,
like,
whatever the yen is like.
Yeah.
This like at
Yeah.
the moment, but it's great. Like, have you seen those videos on YouTube where it's like, oh, buying didn't Ludwig make more like I don't remember like buying the $200 melon or something, and there's like these extravagant.
Aki did a video where she bought like I think she spent like it was like $500-$600 worth of fruit and made the world's most expensive fruit salad.
Oh my god, was it good?
No.
That's the thing, right?
That's the thing. It's like I taste tested all of them as she was cutting them up, and I'm just like, it's good, but I would not pay this amount.
$200.
No, it's ridiculous.
God.
She bought like a melon for like it was like $200 or something, and I'm like, it's good, but I
kinda
wouldn't
wonder,
spend $200.
Do you feel like that's part of like how big food is in Japan? And you know, like the way to flex here is not to buy a car, but it's like to buy like $200 strawberry
I don't even know if it's a flex. I think it's just marketing, right?
to do it.
But I mean, you know, not to like, you know, fucking shoot down Japan right off the gate, but like, you know, there's
It's
a
not
lot
a
of
Japan podcast. So
it's,
we're good.
well, yeah, we're just warming up. But like, you know, if there's one thing that I have noticed is that like in Japan, you can sell any kind of mid as long as it's marketed
The marketing
correctly.
is good.
You know, like you can like, you know, the one. Can I go on a little bit of a rant
Yeah,
here?
go for it,
The one
sure.
that I never understood was those like onigiri senmonten.
Oh, where they like custom make rice balls.
Yeah, there's like these specific stores in Japan that specialize in onigiri, like rice balls, and it's like, there was a store I think it opened somewhere in central Tokyo where the opening day that this place opened up, mind you, they only sell rice balls. There was an 8-hour line. I'm like, dog,
the hype's real.
make it yourself.
Okay, maybe you can confirm this to me. I've heard from sources
Yeah.
that, you know, like a very common practice is that the stores here, they just hire people to wait in line.
They're
and
called
then,
sakura.
Sakura?
Yeah, they're called sakura.
Really?
The people who are hired, they're paid by the store
Yeah.
to line up to make it look like there's huge hype around it. They're called sakura.
You gotta know that like Japanese people have this like natural instinct when they walk past somebody,
Mm.
like some store or something, and it's like lining up around the corner. It's
Yeah.
like, better line up there. I don't know what they're selling, but we better get in
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
hype.
But if there's a line there, then that must mean it's good.
that must mean it's really good.
And
Yeah.
it's like, no, there's lots of
I mean,
lines.
sometimes
There's lots of lines in Disneyland. And it's
Yeah,
not.
oh my
It's
God.
not fucking good.
the one like good line I've ever been in was like for this really crazy ramen store in Shimbashi.
Okay.
And I was like, because I hate, especially for food, I'm like, for a ramen, like you're in there for like 10 minutes, I'm
Yeah.
like waiting for an hour. But I was legitimately like really good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I've lined up at a couple of like restaurants and stuff like that. Like, you know, there was this like really nice gyoza place up in Utsunomiya,
Oh, okay.
up in Tochigi, because Utsunomiya is known for gyoza.
Yeah.
And there was this one gyoza place that was highly regarded as one of the best gyoza places in all of Japan. Every day, it only seats like, you know, it's one of those typical ones where it only seats like 6 people.
Like 2 or 3. Yeah.
They only have 2 things on the menu,
Nice.
and there's a 2-hour line. And I was there with my cousin, and we were like, all right, you know
Let's
what?
do
We're
it.
here all day. Let's go check it out. Legitimately, some of the best gyoza I've ever
Yeah, I
had.
had. Nice.
So I'm like, all right.
I feel like that's always a great sign if they only have like 1 or 2 things on the menu.
Yeah.
Then you know, like, yeah, that's got a slab.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
All
But,
right.
we're not talking about Japan. We're talking about
We're
One
talking
Piece!
about the One Piece. So, Joey, I gotta call you out a little bit. I do know, I do know you're actually. I'm busting the bubble of many people. I get a lot of comments. I was like, oh, you should talk to Joey about Egghead and Wano and Elbaf.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know those words.
I've heard them before. So why don't you tell me and the audience a little bit? What's your One Piece journey in life been like?
Well, I grew up with it. You know, I grew up when I was in primary school. I grew up watching it on TV.
Nice.
So that was pretty epic. I think that was during, God, I'm thinking that was back when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade. So I was 10 years old. So 20,
Alright.
20 years ago.
You watched it in Japanese?
I
or
watched
in-
it on Japanese TV on
Alright.
Sunday mornings.
Did you have that in Australia?
No, in Japan.
Oh, you were in Japan.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that
yeah.
point,
When
alright.
I was visiting like my grandparents and
okay,
stuff in
sick.
Japan, like all I can do is just like, you know,
Yeah.
because I was staying at the countryside
Okay.
at my grandparents' place, and there's like, you know, to illustrate how much of a countryside this was, it was my grandma's house, and then it was rice field, rice field, rice field, rice field, and then my neighbor's house.
That was like a kilometer.
It's like it's legitimately like 500 meters away.
Oh my
so
God.
I was in the bumfuck middle of nowhere for like a month, 2 months straight. So naturally, what do? You wake up in the mornings and you just turn on the TV, and you know, on Sundays and Saturdays they would play anime,
Right.
and One Piece would play during those times. I don't know if they still play at that time now.
So
I think it's an evening thing now,
They
isn't
just
it?
switched it, yeah, to the adult slot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means that it's gonna get more bloody.
It used
or
to be,
something, yeah.
it either used, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it used to be either like kind of in the morning time slot, like around like 11.
Yeah.
Or it was like in the afternoon.
I do feel like in Japan it used to be even like till like last year when they went like. So right now I'm not sure if you know like the anime's on break.
Yeah, yeah,
for,
yeah. I've
for
heard
6
that.
months.
Yeah.
which is
because they've caught up to the manga.
Which
right?
as a content creator is fun.
Yeah.
You know, I published a video. I published a video recently.
Is this why you started the podcast?
I was like, I need stuff.
I
to
didn't
talk
make
about.
content.
I need content, my people. No, it was, but like, I got comments where like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I think the break's getting to like the videos are getting out of hand. So, but yeah, like I think until the break happened, it was just a regular. I want to say that it was like 10 or 11 a.m. as you said, like
Yeah.
definitely a morning slot.
Yeah.
like or even might have been even 9 a.m. or something. Really
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
it being kind of in the before lunchtime, whenever
Yeah.
that was, and I think during that time, it was probably maybe around like the Alabaster arc,
Okay.
or maybe even it was maybe the beginning of the Sky Island arc. It was around then,
Right.
so it was pretty early on. But I remember growing up watching like a lot of those earlier arcs on TV as they were airing, and like me talking about it with my friends, and then I was kind of watching it and also reading it at the same time. Because a friend of mine he was like a huge One Piece fan, and he
Nice.
had all of the manga.
Right.
Because he's like, his parents, I guess, just like bought it for him because it was like, you know, I'll buy you manga, you know, if it's only One Piece, then that's fine. So I read it and watched it, and I haven't read or watched it, since Dressrosa,
Punk Hazard Dressrosa,
which is what, like,
Which is-
10 years ago.
well, yeah, it's really crazy for me also because I remember like I got into anime and manga. I'm not sure if we talked about this like fairly
Yeah.
late. Like I actually did watch like same age as you were, like 10, 11,
Mm.
also at my grandma's place. I did watch some anime here and then, but it was like an episode of Naruto here and an
Yeah.
episode of Pokemon or One Piece there.
Yeah.
So I only got into anime like during university because you know
Mhm.
like who likes studying, right?
Mm.
That beat me in the butt
Real.
a little bit.
Yeah.
but so I caught up pretty quickly to One Piece at that point, like binged it, and that was I think roughly when like as the same time like Punk Hazard, like end of Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, and Dressrosa,
Mm.
and I remember very clearly like, and I was like in university at that point, and yeah, like Dressrosa, that was where the anime was.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
like when I was like completely like watching it on a weekly basis. So the fact that you say that now and it feels like it's probably like 10 years ago or
Yeah,
something,
I think it was like
really messes with my mind too. 'Cause
yeah.
that's such a long time ago.
Yeah, because when was Dressrosa? It was like maybe 7-8 years ago?
It's probably gonna be
Somewhere on
here
screen.
on screen. But yeah, it
a
must-
long time ago,
I
basically.
mean, in the manga, it's probably over 10 years ago.
Probably.
Because so Wano, which is like the Japanese themed
Mm.
like arc that they had, like that
Yeah.
that ran for almost 4 years.
It was like the longest arc.
Yeah,
right?
and then there was like Ekid Island. Like after that, before that, it was Whole Cake Island, which was like 70 chapters.
Is that the one with Big Mama?
Yep.
Yeah. See,
And
I
then-
know the characters.
Yeah, there was like Zoe in between. So
Yeah,
like I feel like 10 years seems pretty reasonable. I would not be surprised.
probably. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably been about that long.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Different,
Which
worlds.
is why, you know, I'm sure, audience, you're thinking the same thing as me. Why the fuck is this guy on a One Piece podcast?
well, you're the anime.
That's the
Connoisseur.
question I asked Ohara. I was like, you want me on a One Piece podcast?
Yeah, dude, of course, of
All
course. Like, okay, so I will say we end up talking about One Piece surprisingly more often,
That is
despite
true.
you not being caught up.
That is true.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Ohara kind of uses me to like kind of reflect on the earlier arcs.
on the past. I think that's
Yeah.
because I think that's fun. Especially, I'm obviously going to be very careful. No, I mean, I know you've been spoiled to a certain degree about some things.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I
but
mean,
like-
it was
like-
pretty impossible. I mean, it's fine. It was pretty impossible to avoid
avoid
that.
it.
Yeah,
But I think it's like really cool because a lot of stuff, like without going into much detail, like a lot of stuff has happened in the manga and the anime, of course. Where like a lot of the like the stuff that you talked about that you watched, like Skypiea and like all these early arcs, suddenly they have like this completely different lore context.
yeah. I heard about that. Like, I obviously haven't been spoiled on the, I guess, the details of the later arcs. Like, I obviously know about like, you know, Luffy's Gear 5 and, you know,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But like, I also heard from, I think, you and a couple of other people who are kept up to One Piece that like there's been recent developments in the story that has made fans kind of go back to the older arcs and almost recontextualize it.
No, that's exactly what's been happening
Yeah.
actually. Like,
Which is so cool.
I remember. I'm not sure if you like how much you like. Again, if you watch it as a kid, I don't
Mm.
know how much you remember of Skypiea particularly, but it was like usually an arc that people were like some people were like, oh, it was fun with NL and all this stuff. Some people thought it
was
it felt
fine.
like filler.
Yeah, it was fine.
Like now it turns out it might have just been like the most important arc.
Oh, shit.
In the entire story.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I've always said that Skypiea was my least favorite arc.
Yeah.
Just because NL to me was a villain that I felt had a lot of potential to be a really memorable villain in that arc, but just kind of fell short. Like, you know how like for me, like especially the earlier arcs of One Piece, you know, it kind of played the formula of like, here's the arc, here's the new place, here is the villain of that arc, here is the new character that is introduced to that arc that is related to this villain, and then shit happens, character developments happen, backstories happen, and then ultimately the bad guy is killed,
Right.
or like, you know, defeated.
Yeah, the classic formula.
Yeah, the classic formula, which is completely fine. It works. I love it. But you know, I think especially because it came after Alabasta and Crocodile, who is like one of my favorite characters in One Piece.
So good.
It just felt Enel's fight with Luffy just kind of felt underwhelming at the time.
I can totally see that. And I feel like you're not the only person.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people had that feeling, and then it was like in retrospect.
Yeah.
Oh, what? So like again, minor spoiler because you already know about Gear 5.
Yeah.
But there is like the first. Have you seen the panel where Luffy like in front of the moon, where like he awakens?
Yes.
Like it was everywhere on Twitter.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like really
yeah.
hard to avoid. So that there's like a panel in Skypiea with the exact same pose, Luffy's shadow.
Oh,
in the Nika
really?
Pose. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, and a lot more stuff, which is like really cool.
Damn.
So I'm kind of curious, was it for you, like, did you catch up to the story? And then it was, because that happens to me with a bunch of other anime where, like, for example, My Hero happened to me. Like, I caught up with the manga, and then I just, like, it was never like, I'm going to drop this now. I don't care. It was more like, I caught up, dropped, like, and then just never bothered, like, never got back into it.
Yeah, I think it's the problem that I have with a lot of like really long running series, especially. I had the same problem with shows like Bleach as well back then. Like, you know, I read Bleach up until a certain point. I think it was up until around like the end of the Aizen fight.
Right.
And you know, that was kind of a low point in Bleach as well, if you know anything about that. And I think a lot of people kind of like dropped off from Bleach after a while. But then I came back to it after a while. But it had been so long since I had read it that I had to go all the way back to the beginning. And that thought was very daunting for me.
To, like,
And
go
the same
back
thing
through
with One
everything.
Piece is that like, you know, I still remember a lot about different arcs and different characters because it's a series that, you know, even though I don't often talk about it publicly, I fucking love One Piece. You know, it's a great series. It's just, you know, it's hard to talk about because I haven't caught up to it, right?
No, fair enough.
But, you know, knowing that, like, you know, hearing everything about, like, Gear 5 and, like, Wano being, like, peak as fuck and, you know, how, like, there's new things in the story that have recontextualized the older arcs and made people to go back, I'm like, oh, shit, maybe it is time for me to finally go back and actually catch up to One Piece. But seeing the amount of chapters that I probably have to reread, like, I
Right.
probably have to start One Piece from the beginning to fully appreciate
I
it.
honestly, I mean, to fully appreciate it, but I do feel like, honestly, you have, like, enough of a background knowledge to just jump into it. I
Maybe.
personally think.
I mean, I remember very little about, like, Impel Down, for instance.
I mean, I think Impel Down, for example, is a good, like, I think you can just restart where you, like, left off, basically.
Yeah.
And,
I
like,
tried
don't,
doing-
and not do that.
No,
like,
that's the
not
thing.
read
I
it.
tried doing that on tour last year. I was like, I have so much time on tour. I'm just gonna like get the Shonen Jump app and just
Right.
like start reading it. And I was like, I don't have to go all the way back to like Alabasta or Skypiea necessarily because, you know, I still remember quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'll just reread Water 7 because that's my favorite arc.
That it. Let's go.
It's the fucking best.
It is the
We can
best
both
arc.
agree. So I was like, fuck it. I'll reread Water. I'll just go from Water 7 again.
nice.
And I reread all of Water 7, and then I was like, and then I just kind of fell off of it again. I'm just
Yeah.
like, God damn it.
I think that's fair enough. I feel like the reason I'm gonna try to pester you to like catch up again is because I know your taste by now a little bit into anime and manga, and I think like you've recommended me a lot of really good light novels and stuff to read in Japanese, and I know that I guess because probably you've like, you know, somewhat outgrown your own anime phase a little bit.
kind
a
of.
little bit, but I know you're like not so much into the, you know, classic stuff and more like deeper stuff, you know, that has like more complex plot lines. There's like, you know, like I guess more complexity to the stories that you enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I definitely do have like my personal tastes on how I like my stories and stuff like that. And it is true, you know, like I do like a lot of the kind of more complex narratives, or rather just like the unconventional narratives, I guess. But in saying that, like I still absolutely love like just a straight up meat and potato shonen as well. Like I've been
like you
enjoying
said.
the fuck out of like Dan Dan Dan,
Oh, it's so
for
good.
instance, which is, you know,
Is that meat and potato though? Because
I think
that to me is like, okay. I want to hear your thoughts on it really
Okay.
badly too.
Okay.
To me, it almost like it's one of those cases where it looks really simple on the surface,
Mm.
but you can tell that there's like a great storyteller behind it, and the
Mm.
people who produce the show also like really
Oh,
love
of
movies and
course.
filmmaking.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Science Saru who have just like, killed it with like, Devilman Crybaby and like all the,
He's a real cinema geek as
Oh,
well.
100%, and no, I completely get that. And I think like but it's interesting you say that, right? Because I actually think it's more of the opposite, which is what makes it awesome, is the fact that Dan Da Dan, I think fundamentally is the most like meat and potatoes shonen in terms of its themes. And the only reason why it seems so balls to the walls is because Tatsu Sensei has just added so many things into it that are seemingly kind of unconnected in a traditional sense,
Right.
and just made it work.
Mm.
Like he's thrown so much into it that at one point it becomes overwhelming.
Mm.
But if you think about it, it's a pretty simple story.
Yeah.
It's just so much crazy shit happens that you don't often see in shonen manga that makes you go like, oh, this is like something weird and cool.
Revolutionary, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's the first, because it kind of trots in the same, I guess, footsteps as, like we kind of had obviously the Attack on Titan phase. It was like, oh, shonen is violent now. And then like that is now very normal. And then you had obviously the Jujutsu Kaisens and Chainsaw Mans. And I feel like Dan Da Dan is the first show that went in those same footsteps. It's like, oh, we're going to be very mature and explore some like very mature themes and like take cinematography also, very seriously, but then almost boil it back down to what originally is supposed to be shonen. Right?
I mean, the whole lore of how Dan Da Dan was made is really interesting because, as you hopefully know, Tatsu Sensei, the creator of Dan Da Dan, used to be the assistant to Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man. And his art was so good that Fujimoto was basically like,
make your own.
yo, I think you should like make your own. But Tatsu didn't know what he wanted to make. And I think it was like Fujimoto's editor or someone who was working under him at the time basically just said, just write something that you think is fucking sick. And he was like, okay.
Aliens and
yokai, curses, losing his testicles. Like,
that's so good.
It's just he just basically threw in a bunch of shit that he personally loves and just made it work.
It's really funny. I feel like it has a surprisingly strong One Piece vibe for me, actually. And I guess part of that is that like half the voice acting cast is just a One Piece voice acting cast.
True.
So like in case people don't know, like Turbo Baba, she like the granny, Turbo Granny
is Luffy's
voice
right?
actor.
Yeah.
Like all the aliens are Zoro's voice actor. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I feel like it captures like the same vibe of like goofing around while also having this like serious side to it, which I like. And I do think, again, like bringing it back to why I think that you should like maybe get back into One Piece is basically from the point that you dropped it, like going into like Zoe and then Wano and then like One Piece always had a lot of deep lore and a lot of like levels to it where you could enjoy it as like a high schooler or like even if you're like in like Shogakuse or something, right? Like you're in elementary school. There's like stuff for everyone. But recently the lore and the world building has gone so crazy, and you can kind of tell that all these little details and secrets and Easter eggs, they were hidden in the story all along. And I'm sure that like Oda Sensei is probably still making stuff up as he goes as well.
Yeah.
But very clearly the main big parts were hidden for a long time on purpose. And I think rediscovering that is like so much fun. I feel like maybe for you, like I have a lot of Japanese friends, for example, who are maybe smarter and don't follow the show like week by week, which can get more frustrating, I guess, and daunting. But like they just wait for like the new manga volume to release, and just enjoy that.
Yeah,
which I'm kind of like as a creator, I'm a little bit jealous of, like, because I love obviously reading week to week, and it's also now my job, so I have to. But it's like seeing how people can just flow through fights or events or just and like it's just such a different experience, I think.
I've definitely become more of a binge reader and a binge watcher these past couple of years, just because like I just I got too much shit to do. Like it's hard to, unless it's like unless I'm in your position where it's like it's my job
for work.
to be on time with like every single new release. like it's I find it more gratifying to just wait a little bit and then just like kind of experience it all
Binging it.
in one sitting. Yeah, it's a kind of binge watch it.
Do you have any manga or any anime that you watch on a weekly basis or read on a weekly basis? Not really.
Not anymore, honestly. I mean, I will say though, it's going into 2025 has already been an interesting year for me because I have already been an interesting year for me because I've watched 4 series. I've watched more anime these past 3 weeks than I did the entirety of 2024.
How you know that Joey's flight got delayed at the airport now?
I'm going back into anime, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah,
you're gonna actually be the anime.
yeah, I'm actually gonna start making anime content. But it was so I know it sounds like a meme, but it was so gratifying to do that because for the longest time I thought I just don't like anime anymore.
Oh.
Or I don't like manga anymore. I was so burnt out from it.
I was about to say, I'm really curious to talk to you about it because I think I had the same conversation with Gand at some point as well. It was a little bit the curse, obviously, of turning something you really love into what essentially becomes work then. For you as well, you were such a big anime channel for the longest time. Keeping that passion alive and not getting burned out with it or getting cynical with it. I think when you talk to a lot of creators, can be One Piece creators, but can be with anything. When you do it every single week, I think the trick really is finding a way to not have that choke out the passion you have for it. Sure. And I'm not surprised at all. How long have you been doing YouTube now for
This will be my 12th year.
Oh my god. It's
too long.
Double the time that I have. Actually.
Oh my god!
I feel even 6 years feels insane to me.
Yeah. Just wait for another 6 years, bro. You'll feel it.
My god. No, but I definitely 2 or 3 years ago, I definitely had a phase where I was also oh my god, am I falling out of love with One Piece because I'm just overanalyzing the shit out of it right now. And I really had to create space for myself to be okay, I still want to read this as a fan and enjoy the story and you kind of have to adjust almost your content to it. But I'm really happy that it seems how did it just come back randomly for you or?
Well, I mean, it helped the fact that this month I have 2 jobs that have nothing to do with my YouTube channel, just outside of my YouTube channel, that have basically forced me to watch a fuckload of anime.
Let's go.
Because I have to talk about anime on these shows that I've been invited to. So I've been invited to go on these shows to talk about anime. I just recently finished a job with Shonen Jump.
All right.
Where I had to talk about a bunch of new and old shonen series.
For their stuff? Or?
Yeah, for Jump Festa.
Okay.
So I had to go back and reread Prince of Tennis and Blue Exorcist. Rurouni Kenshin, but then also catch up to the newer shows like Kaiju Number 8 and stuff like that. And at first, it kind of felt daunting, looking at this list of shows that I needed to be able to talk about in varying detail. So, and again, I was still at that point where I'm oh fuck, I don't want to get burnt out from this shit again.
Right.
But I don't know. I had a lot of fun.
That is so.
I had so much fun rereading all these manga and anime that I've never seen or read before, and I was oh thank God, I still love this shit. I just needed some time to cool down
and get some energy back
for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Honestly, I'm super excited to see that. When's that gonna come out for Jump Festa?
Not sure. I only just filmed it 2 days ago.
Because I was there was a Jump Festa in December, I think.
Yeah.
So is it just gonna be December again when this podcast comes out? By the way.
Yeah. So it'll probably be around now, actually, audience.
Right now, it's gonna be 2020. What are your plans for 2026, Joey? Actually, now that you say it, though, I'm I had a very similar experience where last summer I was flying to the US for a con in Arizona, and I was all right, you know what? I'm gonna spend the plane ride and time in the hotel. I'm just gonna catch up on some new Jump titles that I've just never had the time to look into. I fell really in love with Blue Box. Have you read that?
Oh, it's so good.
It is so
It's
good.
so it's like it's not even a rom-com anymore. It's a sports manga.
What I'm like, I had like almost the opposite impression where I was like, why is this in Jump? Like this is just straight up a shoujo manga.
Yeah.
It felt like, but it's so good.
It's so cute.
So it's really really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
like people. I think there is an anime now. I haven't watched the anime.
Is it this season? I think.
I think yeah, it's running right now. Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, super
Yeah.
good. And then the other manga that I've been like completely like crazy about is Blue Lock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what? It's weird. I was really into Blue Lock maybe around, I think I read the first like 3 or 4 volumes
Right.
and I was kind of into it. And then there was just kind of a point where I was like, all right, come on,
Get to it.
get on with it. It's like, we get it. I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm for one, I'm very particular when it comes to sports manga.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be a sport that look, like personally speaking, I'm not huge into soccer,
Right.
football, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
No,
But you know, I mean, like I love, you know, what's the face? Oh my
Slam
god, no,
Oh.
the famous soccer manga.
Oh, the old one. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my god, what the hell is it called again?
not King of Tennis. Oh my god.
The Prince of Tennis, Jimmy.
Yeah, the one with the black Sasuke hair, right? What's his name?
Yeah, the Boruto Tomodachi guy.
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck's
yeah.
what the fuck
I
is
know
it
who you mean,
called?
though. Oh my god.
Captain Tsubasa.
Oh
Thank
my,
you.
thank you so much.
Captain Tsubasa. Yeah, like Captain Tsubasa. Fucking love that manga. That's all soccer. Even like Inazuma 11, which is like a little more on like it's like
I haven't seen that one.
More like-
does it have an anime or is that just?
yeah, it's an anime
okay.
and manga, but it's more kind of geared towards like younger kids.
Okay, that
it's
makes
on like
sense.
Koro.
I don't know what it is about Blue Lock. Like for me, I've just like been devouring it. Like
The manga, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's-
What do you think of the anime?
Oh, I mean, I love the memes.
Yeah. The PowerPoint presentation.
The PowerPoint memes. Yeah, it's so like I don't understand how stuff like it's the same thing with like a few shows where like during Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, when the last season was running, like the animation was really good, but like there was all the news about the animators being overworked, obviously, and I'm like. I get that you have a production like coming from YouTube and maybe we're thinking more like flexible about it. I don't know, but like I'm always like if the product is not done and it's realistically not going to get done like unless we make it really bad, then I'm like why not push the release? I always
Well, that's what I thought when I watched fucking Uzumaki.
oh my god. First episode was fantastic.
Oh,
though.
first episode was great.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's where all the time went.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I mean, look, apparently there's like some deep lore about the production process of that, which apparently just like fucked everything up.
Oh my god.
So it's like I sympathize with the people who, you know, probably had to deal with that shit. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, because I saw it was like a tweet or an article or something I saw from the director or the producer of Uzumaki, and they were like, we were basically given an ultimatum of we either release it as is
yeah.
or we don't release it at all. And
I saw that, yeah.
I don't know. If I were him or her, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, the producer or director, I would have just kept it in the drafts.
Right, yeah.
You know?
I think that
Because like
works,
it's
yeah.
a big responsibility to do a title like that.
And then I mean, when I first saw the release, like the first teasers that we got of like that manga style that
Yeah.
they went for, I was like, that is sick. And also, like that looks like what you would come up with to torture animators.
Yeah, exactly. Like I looked at the trailer and I was like, this is awesome. This is exactly the vibe we need for an Ito Junji anime, especially compared to all the other ones that they have tried and failed. But I was like, my God, I would not want to be an animator
No.
on this.
But I'm always feeling like bad for the mangaka themselves too, because I think like for them it's usually so like I think that's a good bridge back to One Piece in a second, but like so close to heart, like giving out your own IP, your own story, and like trusting it to someone else and being like, hey, okay, I trust you with my baby here.
Yeah.
Make something nice out of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It gets butchered. Like that kind of sucks. I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a more positive case and maybe a good segue is the live action.
Mm,
Do you watch the live action for
of course.
One Piece?
I fucking loved it.
That is crazy.
Like, I've seen probably unfortunately, I've seen every live action anime ever made.
you watched the Attack on Titan one?
Of course. I got funny. You want to hear a funny story about the Attack on Titan live action?
Yes, please.
I got invited by Madhouse
to react to
while I was in Australia to go watch it in the cinemas.
Oh my god.
They were like, I was still in Australia at the time. It was like 2013, I think. It was like right as I started YouTube. And Madhouse reached out to me and they were like, Madhouse Australia reached out to me and they were like, hey, we want to invite you to come and watch the new Attack on Titan live action movie with a +1. And I was like, oh, sick. I wanted to check this out. This will be dope. So I invited my friend from uni, my best friend from uni, Michael. Shout out, Michael. And we went to go watch it. And by the end of it, as we watched it, you know, it's dog shit if you've never seen it. Credits are rolling, and I just turned to Michael,
Like, what the
and he just looks me in the eyes and he goes like, I know we watched this for free, but I want my money back. It's so bad.
It is so
So
bad.
compared to that, I would say legitimately the One Piece live action shocked me with how good it was. I thought, you know, when you think of a world and characters and just like a setting like One Piece, and just knowing the fact that it is a shonen manga and anime, right? Which time and time again, it has been proved with shows like Fullmetal Alchemist and Bleach that when you throw it into a live action setting, it does not work. It just looks like cosplay.
Yeah.
So I thought, but there was a part of me as well that was like, okay, but it's not a Japanese production. It is a Western production. Because having watched every single live action anime now, at least that I'm aware of, the main distinction between a Japanese production and a Western production is a Japanese production nails the look,
Right.
but fucks up the story. A Western production nails the story, but fucks up the vibe and look.
Right.
Right? And we've seen that time and time again. Sometimes there's rare exceptions like Cowboy Bebop where both are kind of just mid. But so I thought like, oh, you know, the Cowboy Bebop live action was like just okay.
You know, very controversial take.
Uh,
I think in retrospect, it wasn't actually like as bad as people said it was. I think everyone was just insanely hype
the Cowboy
based
Bebop
on
one?
the teaser and the trailers
Yeah.
that we got, and then
Yeah.
it just did not live up to that.
Yeah, the marketing I think kind of shot itself in the foot
Very much
because
so.
there was a lot of aspects of the Cowboy Bebop live action I really enjoyed. Like, you know, the casting I thought was really,
pretty good.
really good. You know, the guy who played Jet was like amazing, so good.
He nailed it.
He nailed it. Even what's his name who played Spike was
Yeah.
like really, really good.
Yeah, no, I feel like the acting was all pretty decent.
Yeah, and then but like the things that kind of just like, you know, gave me kind of an ick with the live action for Cowboy Bebop was just like, just some of the writing, you know?
Well, I feel like they like changed some weird things about the story.
Yeah, like
that
Faye
didn't-
was like a
yeah.
lesbian now, and I'm like, that wasn't necessary. And like, also there were just so many parts where I'm just like, they were writing it, you know, I always said the writing in the Cowboy Bebop live action reminded me of the writing in a lot of Marvel movies, where they just kept throwing in like dumb little one-liners that don't add anything to the story that just got really annoying and corny and cheesy.
Just for the gag.
Just
yeah.
for the gag, and they were just like, oh, we're just a couple of hooligans just like trying to make it out. And I'm like, guys, stop. Just stop. Like,
Please don't.
just stop
Those
giving
are
me
worse.
these shitty, corny one-liners. Like, this isn't a fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
Yeah.
right? Like, just give us the good story that Cowboy Bebop has. So when I went into the One Piece live action, you know, we had just come off of the back of the Cowboy Bebop live action, so I was like, ugh, this same thing might happen, and the One Piece fans are not going to be happy.
Yeah.
But shocker, it was really fucking good.
It was pretty good.
I really enjoyed it. I actually met the actor who played Mihawk.
Oh, he looks super like
He was
fun
so
to
g-
talk to.
Yeah. He was
If you're watching,
yeah,
please come on the podcast.
Yeah, bro, shout out. Like, I met him at Aki and I went to a convention last year in South Africa because, you know, the entire, or like 90% of the One Piece live action was shot in South
Right.
Africa. So I went there and I saw this guy and I'm like, that guy looks familiar.
Yeah.
And I went up to him, I'm like, you played Mihawk in One Piece live action, right? And he was like, yeah. I really put my career on the line for that shit.
Did he say that? Oh my god.
And I was like, well, dude, it
paid off,
It worked
dude.
out. Yeah,
It
you were
paid off.
really good in it. Yeah.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah.
I think the costumes look pretty sick. They did change like certain things from the story. Like I'm not sure if you like noticed as much as maybe like.
Oh, I definitely noticed.
But for example, like the world itself, like it has a lot more of a modern vibe to it. Like there's like electricity and stuff, which not that there isn't electricity and stuff in One Piece, but like there aren't like neon signs and stuff like that. So they kind of like gave it like its own little flair, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
I personally think, like I went into it very scared because I felt like a bit of like a bit of a douche, but I felt like very protective of like the story I love so much, and so
I think you and everyone.
I was like, I just went in with the expectation that they would fuck it up so bad.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
Yeah, and I was like, it was like such a relief that they did not. But I also will say, I feel like it seems like the second season of the live action, like it might come out even like later this year in December. So when this podcast drops,
Yeah. I am. You know what? If I wasn't scared of the season 1 dropping, I am most certainly scared of season 2, because how the fuck are they going to do Chopper?
I was about to say the real challenge is gonna come now because they didn't have to do any of the Logia fruits yet.
Yep.
That's gonna be like Smoker.
Yep.
Like, ooh, hit or miss. And then Chopper, I'm very curious. Same like. The thing is with One Piece, obviously, like the beginning is the most normal part of the entire story. It just gets more and more crazy.
Yep. You reckon they're gonna go up to like maybe Alabasta?
So I think they already said that it's not even going to go up to Alabasta.
Oh, really?
I think it's gonna. Okay. Ooh, I might say something wrong here, but I do remember like I personally thought that would be the logical next step. They're splitting it up even closer. I felt it might be Drum Island actually.
Oh, really?
But I might be saying something dumb here. But like I remember thinking like, oh, we're not even going to go that far yet.
Right.
So I feel like that could go either direction, where either it's a good thing that they're actually taking their time, but by that logic, they're also like, I guess the live action is going to take as long as the actual anime to ever get somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a lot of things about the first season that I really, really enjoyed. You know, obviously the casting was good, the choreography was good, the CG wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I thought they did a good job. First of all, well, there was a lot of money that they put into those episodes.
Oh, for sure.
Like the budget was like $100 million per. Again, I might be speaking out of my ass because it's been a while, but I feel like I remember it was like almost $100 million per episode.
God damn.
But I think something that they did really smartly was, for example, for Buggy, I was very scared how they're gonna do the detaching. They just used lighting really smartly, like like shadows and not just. Do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, and you can sell a lot of effects really well if you're just not like 100% clear what you're seeing right now.
Although I will say, the funniest part, and I think the weakest part of the live action was just like, I don't know about you, I don't know if you thought this way, but Arlong kind of looked like a basement dweller.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't look as intimidating as in the anime or manga.
Do you know why? There was a really good Twitter post by like a random dude, and he just kind of like, he had the regular shot and Arlong was just the same size as Luffy, and then he just made Arlong double the size, and suddenly everything worked.
Right.
But just make him bigger. Like the problem was that he was just the same size as Luffy.
Yeah.
Well, like in the show, obviously he's like towering over Luffy. He's like this
he
buff
just looked
dude.
like a dude.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So I think that was a bit of an issue. Like he never felt like that big of a threat to begin with. I feel like those are always like those little choices. I think. Some stuff they nailed, some stuff but like it would have been like, I think you can't expect them to like make everything perfect in every
Although
aspect.
I will say one aspect that I really appreciated about the One Piece live action, which I think was definitely a big risk that paid off, was the fact that they almost willingly decided to not include very specific things.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like they like kind of cast a lot of actors that didn't have a strong role attached to them yet.
No, not
I think that's also
necessarily.
good, but I agree what you mean.
But like, for example, like they didn't give Usopp his nose, or they didn't give Sanji the squiggly eyebrow. Or like one part that I thought was like really interesting was the fact that, in that scene, with like Nami and everything, where it's like one of my favorite scenes from One Piece, where like she asks Luffy for help, and then she puts the straw hat on her head, and then she goes like that scene.
Yeah,
that shit made me like tear up when I was watching the anime. They didn't include that scene.
Yeah,
like he just like put the straw hat on and just like walked off, and I'm like, you know what? I think that was a good choice to not include that line, because it works in manga and anime, but it would not have worked. It would have been too cheesy in the live action.
I feel like that's a big challenge with like all live action adaptations, obviously. But what do you include? What do you not include? I think overall, again, I feel like the fact that Oda Sensei himself was like supervising it, and he just recently flew out to South Africa, like that's, I think, makes a big difference. Obviously, when you have the manga creator like being directly involved with the show.
Absolutely, yeah, it always helps.
Yeah, and I think he's like really rigorous about what they do. Like he was like, don't fuck this up for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I was Oda, I'd be like, bro, there's a lot on the line here. Don't fuck it up.
The only issue is like what I guess the manga readers have been suffering from a little bit is like he's been involved into so many different projects, like making a movie every 2 or 3 years, the live action, and he wants to make, like, he's like a perfectionist, right? He wants everything to be like great. And in the end, what happens?
He's doing a good job so far.
He is, but we also get like now maybe 1 to 2 chapters a month of One Piece.
Right.
So we're like very slowly trotting towards that Togashi.
I mean,
we're still away from that.
Yeah, in Togashi's case, it was just a fucked up back. That like screwed him over. But, at least, as long as like Oda's like healthy.
No, that's the most important.
And he's like still producing good stuff that is like adjacent to the franchise, then I think it's fine.
Well, I think the Toriyama thing also like really scared him off a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Where he was like, I need to look more after my work and my health and everything, which like maybe you have, I guess you've interviewed more people and interacted with more people in the industry. For me, even after coming to Japan and even like after witnessing like the the work-life balance or the lack thereof that people have here, like it blows my mind how someone like Oda, like they must be like multi-millionaires, right? Like easy, like if not, I'm not sure a billionaire. I have no idea, but like a lot of money,
multi-millionaire easily,
and they still like all these people like work themselves like to death. Still,
and I think it's a multifaceted problem. I think it might have to do with the fact that there's just like such a high demand that is just like especially in the case of the manga and anime, it's just ever growing every single year. And then just the fact that I think just a lot of manga artists and creators and anime directors and producers and stuff like that they just love what they do a little bit too much.
Maybe you need like it's a little bit like with YouTubers, right? Like maybe it takes like this certain level of obsessive.
I mean, there's tons of YouTubers on the platform where it's just like, I'm awake 20 hours a day
doing YouTube,
and all I'm doing is making videos. It's like I don't fucking take a step outside, I don't exercise, I don't change up my daily routine. It's just content. And those are the creators that ultimately they crush it, but ultimately are the ones who burn out the fastest.
That is true too.
And the ones that kind of, whittle away.
Well, I feel like there is obviously like levels to it where you have like the very unhealthy level, right? And I think we both know, a lot of creators, or like everyone knows a lot of creators, they rise up really quickly, they grind, burn out, and then like after 2 years, they're gone. I think we also know a lot of like both you and me know a lot of people who like their entire like, even when they're not working, they're technically working. Yeah. It's always about like
their hobby is their job.
Exactly.
And their job is their hobby.
And I'm like, I think at first I was a little bit envious of people like that who could just, do nothing but create and work and pump it out. And I was like, why am I like, because I used to be that way. Like when I started YouTube, when it's still a hobby, you're like having fun and like, you're like at the beginning you can do that, and like maybe other creators, maybe you can attest to this. Like when you're starting out, it's fun, it's easy. Like maybe you're still like studying, you don't have any other responsibilities. It's just fun grinding out.
Yeah.
But you hit a point like that you probably hit as well, where it's like, okay, like I need weekends. Like I can't just work 7 days a week. Maybe weekends would be a nice idea and little stuff like that.
I mean, the first 2.5 years I did YouTube, I did daily uploads.
So that is such a wild.
While being a full-time uni student, it's a fucking miracle I even got my degree. Like I barely scraped through. I was just like, I got like maybe 2 or 3 marks above what was acceptable to like I'd be able to graduate. I was like, give me that. Like I grabbed my
I got it.
A degree. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here.
What's your degree again?
Computer design computing with a major in web design.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you need a web designer,
all right,
I have the degree.
I put Joey's address in the description.
Oh, thanks.
So please call him also.
Cool. Thank you.
If you
my
need
phone number is right there.
Yeah, like call here.
My personal phone number.
If you need a website.
Yeah, if you need a website, man, I got the degree. No, but like, yeah, it's so funny. It's like, you know, when I first started off, I was doing these daily uploads on shitty Australian internet, even though I was fucking busy every day studying to get this degree. And now, like, you know, I can't fucking imagine doing a daily upload.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And the people who have been able to do it for that long, like, eventually they all do burn out. They all do, like, it
Is
takes
that your experience? Yeah.
a toll. Yeah, I mean, like, I know creators personally who did, you know, daily uploads or maybe every other day uploads for years and years and years on end, and then eventually it just ate up their mental health, and they were just, you know,
Well, I think it messes a lot with you, and like even if you don't upload daily, but if like all you do is think and live, like, I mean, not to call out any specific people, but like I know there's a lot of people on the platform where like their mentality is like you should be living and breathing YouTube.
Yeah.
Like the moment you get up till
what
you're,
is
like,
the point of being a YouTuber if you haven't sold your soul
Exactly.
to Google?
Exactly.
What's the point? It's like, well, the point is that I enjoy my life. It's
Yeah,
like, you know, I want to go out and have days off and spend time with friends, and, you know, not everything needs to be about content.
Yeah, and hobbies, and I think
Yeah.
I
Live like a normal human being.
exactly, and I think ironically that, like, again, we talked earlier about like burning out a little bit with my anime and manga, or burning out with the type of content you do. I think the secret to that is literally, you know, you have hobbies that you do, you have people that you spend time with, and that allows also you like detaching yourself a little bit from the entire like content creative system. I think is like what allows you to then actually be passionate about it and actually put out good stuff and have fun doing it. Because ironically enough, like, and I think that's a lesson that maybe most YouTubers who do it long term have to learn. At least I had to. I'm not sure if you agree or relate to this. Is like, if you don't have, ironically enough, like YouTube might be the one job if you don't have fun and you're not like enthusiastic about it. Like, maybe if you're good enough you can put out a video, but in the end it like makes such a difference if you're actually passionate about something and have a good time, right?
Yeah,
and you're
and
in a good
like,
place.
Yeah, and like, you
Yeah.
know, the YouTube audience is not stupid. You know, like they can see if you've made a video that you clearly did not want to make, and you just like did it because it's like, well, fuck, I needed a video today.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, people don't want to watch that. People
Yeah.
want to watch you be.
Have
People want to
fun.
watch you having fun
Yeah.
making the content, you know, and it's like, and if that's not getting across to your audience, then I think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I think making content for people and not just for an algorithm, I think, is probably
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you're not making content for yourself,
Yeah,
then why the fuck are you doing it?
exactly.
You know?
I think like having again, and was that a lesson that you felt you had? Because I definitely had a period in my where I was like, oh, I need like, this is my upload date, and like I need to put a video.
Oh
out.
yeah, for sure. I think the thing is, and I don't know if this is a controversial take or not. I think there's nothing wrong with having that kind of mentality when you're starting off. Because obviously, especially in 2025, I think it's getting, every year, it's just getting harder and harder and harder to be a content creator or to start being a content creator.
Yeah.
Because there's more people doing it now. It's easier to do. Every niche has basically been slowly filled up now. So it's hard to be unique and stick out. And also, like, it's been heavily commercialized, and it's heavily like, you know, it's very like capitalist mentality of like, oh, you got to get the views, you got to pertain to the algorithm, you got to get the bag. And it's like, okay, but like, you know, there's other ways to do it without, you know, literally eating away at your mental and slaving away making videos, you know.
One really interesting trend that I've been seeing is people starting YouTube channels now just to make money which is like dumb in like a couple of ways, I think.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is like if you just want to make quick bucks, I think they're like, you're not gonna have a great time
No.
being like,
There's more fun ways to make money.
you like doing okay. Again, like it's like the classic case of the YouTubers bitching about like their job and like now you being a YouTuber is great, and like obviously we like it brings a lot of liberty with our daily lives, but it, like I think it still comes with a lot of, you need to, you know, put out actually good content, and I think there's like other, like I would recommend other like ways if you just want to make money, probably.
Totally.
But on top of that, it also kind of like it floods certain niches just with like this like very soulless
just
content.
like pap.
Like science is like really bad. Like there's just these like AI channels or like just like
Yeah.
10, 10 things you should never do in Japan.
Oh my God,
number
yeah.
one.
It's like
Don't-
top 10 secret restaurants in Japan. Number 6 will make you kiss your dad. It's
Number
like, it's-
one, don't kill people. In Japan, it's actually
Yeah.
seen as very rude if you murder
Oh
someone.
my God, the worst one of those that I saw was like, it was one of those fucking, it was like a TikTok or some shit
my God.
that uses those like AI voiceover things, and it was like top 10 places to eat in Tokyo. Number 10, Family Mart. It's like, what?
Oh my God.
I'm like, no. Why would you? No. That's like me saying like,
Moss Burger.
yeah. It's like, yeah. It's like McDonald's. It's like, no. Shut up.
Do you know what Moss stands for in the Moss Burger? This is the real Japan quiz right here. The surprise questions.
Oh shit. It's like majide oishii or something.
No, it's a bit dumber than that.
What is it?
It's Mountain Ocean Sun because it's like rich as the mountains and like hot roasted as the sun.
Can we all agree that Moss Burger is one of the most overrated chains in Japan? Can we agree on
It's
that?
so bad.
It's fine. It's like a once a year thing. It's like, you know what? I haven't had Moss Burger in like 2 years. Let's see what's
I
happening.
feel like Moss Burger is like where you go when there's no McDonald's and you really want like some
when there's nothing else around. Yeah. It's like when your only other options is like KFC, and it's like,
Basically.
all right, fine, I guess I'll go to Moss Burger.
Burger. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, One Piece,
One Piece indeed. The best one, the One Piece burger.
the One Piece burger.
No, but yeah, going back to the live action thing, like, do you feel like for yourself was that something where you felt like that was rekindling your interest a little bit in the show, or?
I mean, yeah. You know, it made me happy to, you know, it made me happy and proud to be like, oh yeah, this is I'm a fan of One Piece, and this is a great fucking live action, because God knows that's a rare occurrence in the world of live action, right? Especially in the world of shonen anime as well. But like, I showed the One Piece live action to like a couple of my friends who never had an interest in manga or anime or anything like that. They gave it a watch and they were like, oh, that was like really cool.
Surprisingly, I felt like for me the experience was also people who had never touched One Piece or even never touched anime before were like the most positive about the entire show.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, but like, again, like, I don't blame them when it comes to One Piece, because, you know, it is pretty fucking daunting to be like, oh, it's got how many fucking episodes? How many chapters? It's like,
when the thing, like, there's like multiple things that are stacked on top of it, right? There is the fact, like, this is like when you start watching the anime now, well, the first episodes are from like the 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, different style. If you're like, I don't know, you're like a 15-year-old like boy right now, like in middle school or high school or something. I don't know how old what school are you in when you're 15?
middle school,
Middle
I
school,
think.
I guess. Depends how smart you are.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like you're used to like Demon Slayer and whatnot,
And
then
Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah, and then you
yeah.
start watching like the East Blue Saga
Yeah.
from like animated in the 90s, like
Yeah.
1997 or something. You're like, okay, maybe not for me.
It's kind of the same as like kids today trying to get into like Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
You know, especially the anime. It's like, it's pretty fucking hard to watch now.
it's really interesting again, because maybe I had this different experience getting into anime and manga later in my life. So maybe, I'm not sure if you ever had this phase. For me, like finding out that there was and this was like at a time where like I was like 16, 17 maybe. So it was right before the entire big streaming thing happened, right? And so for me, I was like still like I was really into like TV shows and How I Met Your Mother, and that's like how I learned. Basically, I learned English by like watching How I Met Your Mother on like the side while I was gaming.
That's
or
really
something.
funny.
like just watching TV shows like
Right.
Scrubs and how like all these things.
Yeah.
And so for me, like discovering anime, like Naruto was the first one I actually like
Oh, yeah.
got into, and like the idea of like, oh, there is 800 episodes of this, like
Yeah.
let's go. That's like content for me to watch for fucking days.
Forever.
Like I can go. So interestingly enough, for me, it was almost at the beginning, like I was looking specifically, I was like, I don't want to watch a show that's over in like 10 episodes.
Right.
So I started with Naruto, then got into One Piece,
Yeah.
then got into Bleach, and only like as I got more and more into anime and manga did I start like, I mean, now I'm at like the completely opposite end where like I really, really appreciate a good 12 episode
Yeah,
anime that's
for
like
sure.
cohesive in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and like maybe like this brings us to the next topic is like I'm very curious, obviously, as is everyone, how One Piece is going to end. And the thing that is giving me a little bit of dread is how many long-running shows I've now seen that have just completely not managed to like hit the landing.
Are you talking about, I don't know, Jujutsu Kaisen, Bleach, My Hero Academia,
Oshinoko.
Oshinoko?
Are you ready to have that? Have you read it?
No, but I have heard of it. So like, you know how I've been saying, like, I've been reading and rewatching and watching a lot of like new anime and manga.
Yeah.
Oshinoko is one of those that I have to finally catch up on.
Dude, it's okay. So
all I heard is that Akasaka was just fucking trolling.
he was like, I'm done with
It's
this.
like, yeah, I'm fucking sick of this.
Yeah, and
I
that's-
wanna go and stream with VTubers
Yeah,
now.
basically. Where I'm like, dude, you have like such. I mean, same with Bleach. It's just like, I mean, Bleach was different, I guess.
Yeah,
'cause it
Bleach,
needed
Kubo
to
got
end.
fucked over, yeah.
He got fucked over
Yeah.
really hard. But for Oshinoko, Jujutsu Kaisen, like all these shows, like so good. So like for a while, like maybe like 2-3 years ago, while Jujutsu Kaisen was running at its peak, I was like, this is like an insanely good show. And then only towards the end, like it started getting more and more controversial, and then the ending was just a complete like watching a car crash in slow motion.
So like as I'm sure you know, like I never really like super got into Jujutsu Kaisen. It just didn't click for me for whatever reason.
Which fair enough.
Yeah. Which is thank you for reacting that way, because the internet certainly doesn't react that way when I say that. But it was so
Actually, let me take that back.
yeah, it's like you got shit taste.
Shame on you.
It's like, but it was so funny when I was watching the whole saga, kind of, you know, vicariously of the last like 5 to 10 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen and how the community was reacting.
I mean, it started before that already. It was like, like it was like the last 40-50 chapters.
Yeah.
It was like this love-hate relationship.
It was
between the audience.
basically after the Shibuya arc, right?
Yeah.
That it kind of started to go downhill.
Yeah,
from
well-
what I heard. Again, I don't know. I haven't read it, so I don't know.
So after the Shibuya arc, there was still there was like the big tournament thing. I'm not gonna spoil it too much.
Yeah.
Maybe you still want to read it, right?
I'll probably still give it a read.
So there's like this big tournament type arc,
Yeah.
and then that culminates into like the final big fight, basically.
Right. Yeah, but it was really funny. I got so many messages from people being like, "Shit, Joey, you're right. It is kind of mid." After it ended.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the thing is, it almost like it has such a good starting point, Jujutsu Kaisen, but then you always feel like we're gonna get more like it almost too much stuff happens too quickly, and certain things don't like take their time to like breathe, and it just keeps like escalating really hard. And you're like basically you like at a certain point with starting with Shibuya, you just see like Yuji basically being like broken like almost every chapter in like a different it's just like torturing like this kid mentally. Almost really fucked up.
So was it a problem of like there were just too many like loose ends, or was it just kind of like
I think
too much shit happened?
Yeah, too much. Like I think it started to escalate really hard, and then I think some unpopular things happened. With like the final big showdown, where I think the power scaling just got like blown like completely out of proportion in like a really weird way. And then like the last 5 chapters are just the wildest stuff ever.
Right.
Like suddenly. Like so many open ends instead of closing any of them, we just suddenly end. But then we start introducing like massive new aspects to the universe that then just like never get explored. I'm like, what?
That's weird.
Yeah. With that being said, let me quickly refill this here a little bit.
We're drinking sake on Drink Sake.
Drink sake.
I think you have to fill up the.
Oh yeah, no, there's still some inside.
Oh, there we go.
It's just a very big vessel.
Nice.
I did tell you earlier, but this came without a cork, which to me makes no sense.
I think it's supposed to be just like decorative.
Oh no.
Potentially. God, you've spilt like half that shit.
It's just spilled sake. It's the crossover with spilled ink.
Yeah, spilled sake.
Spilled sake.
I was on Spilled Ink the other day, and I
saw that.
Yeah, I smashed back like 2 beers during that recording.
Did your art get better?
No, definitely got worse. But I was like, oh, you guys should like drink on the show and call it Spilt Drink.
Let's go. Shout out to Emily and Datas. They when I was out the other day with them, I got these glasses.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, O'Hara was like, "Oh, do these glasses make me look sus?" And I'm just like,
I'm like,
"No, it's fine. I think it's the purple.
The purple is
tinting
good,
is
right?
good.
If they were yellow, it'd be like crossing the line a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit Jeffrey Dahmer. But
yeah.
You're
no,
right.
they hit the right level. I think. I feel like,
Yeah.
go. I feel like you look good with them.
I've never worn these kinds of glasses.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Hey, ladies,
I
do you want to talk about One Piece?
Do you want the one piece?
Do you want the One
Do you want to see if the One Piece is real?
It's real.
It's
I'm
real.
telling you, ladies, it's real.
Oh my god, dude, that's wild. I think one thing I'm not sure if you know about is that there's gonna be a new anime too.
Yeah, One Piece Brotherhood, right? That's the meme.
The 2-piece.
Yeah, 2-piece. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I had a feeling we were gonna touch up on that because you were saying like I completely agree with you on the point of like the older arcs that I kind of grew up with. They are kind of difficult to watch in terms of just like animation quality. So I think it makes total sense that they would want to remake it.
It's just I'm like very curious because the first glimpse that we got at it, did you see it all, like the teaser? So it looked very much like this watercolor, and okay, I might be butchering this again, like because I haven't looked at it right away, like right now, but like the way I have it in memory is like very in the style of the manga, and then like kind of like colored like watercolor almost, like simply shaded, which I thought like neutral at first. I'm like it's a bit of a brave choice. Like me personally, I would not complain, and I'm not sure if this is gonna actually like Common's gonna be raging potentially again. Like maybe this is just like early looks at it potentially. I don't know.
Like concept art?
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Like, or maybe that's the whole style of it. I think like it would definitely be charming if that was it, but I personally would have kind of wanted something like almost like at the like having One Piece with like really good pacing and like the Demon Slayer level like coloring and stuff. Like
right.
Like I was like that would be so like getting the entire East Blue stuff and like having that in like this like super good.
Do you know what studio is doing it?
Oh yeah, I should.
It's not Mappa, right?
No, it's not. It's not Mappa.
Yeah.
No, it's let me quickly.
Because who was doing the original?
Yeah.
It was no.
Well, the original's Toei, yeah.
Toei, right? Yeah.
And then the new one is made by what's Studio Wit.
Oh, Wit.
Is what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if it's like, if it looks anything like what's the One Piece movie that was directed by Hosoda?
Was that Strong World?
Yeah, the fourth or fifth one, I believe. Yeah. Where like he kind
of
went.
Was either Film Z or Strong World? I feel.
I think. Oh, was it? I don't even remember.
Or was it Gold?
It was like an earlier one.
Yeah.
But if it's anything like that, I'd be kind of down for it. Where it's like he kind of. I remember. I've only seen a couple of the One Piece movies. And that was one of them that I watched. Just because I love Hosoda. And he kind of took like a weird risk with that one because he really changed up like the
art style
of the anime. But I really dug it. Like it kind of worked well with like the grittiness of One Piece. Because, like One Piece, like, at the end of the day is very much like a bubbly, like, easy to consume type of like lighthearted story on the surface. Obviously.
At least on the surface.
At least on the surface, right? But underneath the underneath all of that, like the plot can get very, very gritty in some of the backstories of some of the characters, right? Obviously, and I think the Hosoda movie that he did, and it pisses me off that I forgot which one it was.
Let me fact that. Let me look it up quickly.
Which I really enjoyed that one because it's like the grittiness of the art perfectly reflected the gritty nature of the underlying plot of One Piece, especially in that movie. So like I think if they can like pull that off with the One Piece Brotherhood thing, I think that would.
Oh, you mean the Baron
really cool.
Omatsuri?
Yeah, Baron Omatsuri.
I didn't know that was the one.
That was Hosoda, right?
Yeah, that was Hosoda.
Yeah, it's the only One Piece movie he did.
That is crazy.
Yeah, he just like randomly was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna direct a One Piece."
movie.
And it's fucking awesome.
Oh, it's like that is like really old too. I think that must be from like the early 2000s.
It was like I think it was like his maybe second or third movie he ever did. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like they have recently, I think, because of shows like say about Demon Slayer what you want. I'm assuming you're not a big fan, even though I don't know, but
it's all right.
I feel like the fact alone that it has stepped up the game for anime in general, like you can't. I feel like after at the point we're at right now with shows like Demon Slayer and like partly what they did with Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like the animation quality being so high, and like obviously Makoto Shinkai stuff too, but you just can't get away with like certain stuff anymore that I think certain studios were like, the story, it's famous, like people are gonna watch it and just get away with like low, like maybe something like Blue Lock would have been fine like 3 years ago, but like you can't do it right now, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like, as awesome as it is to see shows like, Demon Slayer and Jujutsu just like fucking upping the, and even like Attack on Titan, just like upping the game in terms of animation quality, I feel like they are kind of slowly choking themselves out in a weird way where like now it's just expected that that is going to be the
The level.
norm.
Yeah.
And studios, just a lot of the studios, unless you're Mappa, just don't have the budget or the
Yeah.
staff or anything. And even Mappa didn't have the budget or
Well,
the
you-
staff, or technically speaking.
Well, you can milk your animators. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to resort to very unethical shit, which, everyone loves that, right?
Well, to
Like,
be
I definitely felt that way when I watched the trailer for the upcoming Chainsaw Man movie.
Oh yeah.
I was like, the Chainsaw Man anime was already fucking insane.
It looked like
And
the
the
amount
Resi-
of detail in that was
Yeah.
like, and yeah, I've seen
the
the
Resi
trailer,
movie
yeah.
arc, like trailer, I was just like, how did they one up it again?
Yeah, I mean that is basically just Makoto Shinkai level at that point.
Oh, I think it's beyond.
Is it even
Makoto
beyond that, you
Shinkai.
feel?
Yeah, it's just some of the
Yeah.
most insane animation I've ever seen.
Well, I gotta say, I'm like very biased because I dig that style so hard.
Oh,
like this like
100%.
realistic, beautiful anime style. It's so good.
Oh, it clearly works so well, and I think that's why the pressure is even greater now for other animation studios to be able to
Yeah.
get at least close enough to that to be even taken seriously.
Exactly, and that's basically you. Like again, you haven't seen it yet, but that's basically what they did during Wano.
Yeah,
They changed the animation style completely,
yeah,
and then
yeah. I saw those
after
impact
Wano,
frames.
yeah. So it went like pretty crazy. To me, like the one issue, I think the anime looks fantastic.
Mm.
I have the issue that like it went too much Dragon Ball in my taste a little bit. Like
Right.
the power scaling of the anime, for me at least, and this might be a controversial take again, but for me, the anime power scaling and the manga power scaling are just complete like. Basically in the anime now, like when Zoro takes a step back, like the ground shatters is basically like the vibe.
Yeah, of course.
And they also have not updated the old Dragon Ball sound effects that they basically made like in 1980 or something. It's like it's still the same.
Yeah, the
it's
boom sound effect.
It's the Dragon Ball sound effects that they then put on the One Piece manga, One Piece anime, and that just has not changed in like 25 years.
I mean,
So I don't know.
as a Dragon Ball fan, I'm not complaining with that.
I feel like yeah, they could like a bit of a variety would be nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But the main thing is like that's why I have like such high hopes for that anime remake, just because I feel like now you have the chance to not only get the pacing right for like a modern audience,
Yep.
but also like meet the style requirements that like people are looking for, right? Like have it actually look really good, like have it look mature also. I don't personally have a problem if it ends up being this like more manga-esque style, because I feel like what you said, like I think the solution that some studios have found, look at for example Dandadan, is like, okay, we maybe can't have that insanely polished thin line art heavy detail production, so we're just gonna stylize our art style, and I feel like that works completely as well.
Yeah.
That's like, but brings cool creativity to the table as well.
Yeah, and I think like at that point you just need to be kind of blessed with the right staff, which in the world of anime is kind of it is becoming a little bit of a rarity.
One thing that I'm always curious, and like I think you might be the right person to ask this, is where does like the chunk of the money from, like, let's say the One Piece anime, let's take it for like, does the chunk of the money, does that go to Oda? Does that go to Toei? Does that go to because I sometimes feel like the reason I'm saying this is with JJK, the good example. Like that show, like merch wise, yes, it costs a lot of money to make, but I feel like it should make so much money back that like the money must be going somewhere if it isn't going to paying animators, right?
So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the finances of anime and everything like that, because I think I've read in the past of like how it works, but I think it's also case by case as well for like different production companies and publications and stuff like that. But the one thing I do know for a fact is that if you have a manga that you really like, say for example One Piece, and you want to support someone like Oda, the best way to do so is to buy the manga, because watching the anime and buying merch, almost none of that money goes back to Oda.
Yeah.
It goes to different production companies, it goes to different manufacturers, it goes to different IP holders.
Right.
If you want to support Oda, the person, or any like fundamental creator of a story, especially in the world of anime and manga, if it's based originally off a manga,
Buy the manga.
you just have to buy the manga.
Yeah.
Not buy Shonen Jump, buy
The
the
manga.
manga, like the
Yeah.
volumes of manga. Which is unfortunate because for a lot of people outside of Japan, that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you can't read Japanese, for instance.
and especially because I guess especially for an English like I consume like the volumes. Like usually I consume the chapters in English, but then once the volume comes out, I just reread it all in Japanese.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I also consume the chapters in both English and Japanese because that's actually another topic I want to get into with you. But like just before, like to finish it up, I think it's easy to forget that it takes a lot of time, and there's like a really big time difference between actually being able, getting it here in Japan versus getting the translated volume wherever you are in the world. Even like, and many languages and countries don't even get that.
Yeah.
And if you don't get One Piece in, say, I'm like, there's probably Portuguese One Piece. I'm just gonna use it as an example. If you don't get Portuguese One Piece, then you're not gonna get Chainsaw Man in Portuguese either.
Yeah.
So, like, that just cuts it off really hard for you. And again, I guess the only way for you to consume it then would be, like through like Jump
Fan
Plus or something.
translations,
Yeah,
yeah.
or like even if you use the official Jump app or whatnot, like in the end, like that's either you read it for free because they offer it for free, or you buy it there. But then I guess the most of the profits go to the publisher and not to.
in the case with things like the Shonen Jump app, for instance, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe some of that money, they might have set up a system.
I mean, I'm
or
sure
something.
some percentage must go to the creator.
I mean, I would hope so.
I'm just curious, is it 80%? Is it 8%? Right? Is it like
I'm not even gonna start.
Is it
guessing.
0.8%? Like, I
Honestly,
don't know.
any of those numbers could be a possibility. I
See,
don't
like,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like really curious. Like, I hope that Oda gets like 80% of all the like his IP stuff, but like also, like, I feel like it would not be out of the question if it were just like 0.8%, and that's like his contract that he signed like 30 years ago as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, it's really hard to tell. And I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are some like, manga creators and stuff like that who have fallen victim to stuff like that, But at the end of the day, I think like, yeah, with any kind of like anime, for instance, the best way to support the creator is to just buy the source material. So whether it be a manga, it could be a light novel. If it's based off a light novel, it could be a novel, it could be a game, whatever it is. Just like buy the source material. Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
It's what I always try and do with
Yeah.
any kind of manga.
Well, it's just fun also, I guess, from the collecting aspect of things.
yeah,
I
I
know
mean-
you have a crazy manga collection.
I have 6 bookshelves in my house
It's ridiculous.
full of manga.
That
But like,
is
I for example, like, when I was younger, obviously, and I had a lot less money, I would go to places like Book Off and buy manga secondhand, right?
That's where I got my entire One Piece collection from.
Yeah,
Like, that was like back when I came back to Japan, and like, I was like barely able to pay rent off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, what I would do is like sometimes I'd go to like my local Book Off and just get like a volume here.
Yeah.
Like
No,
for like 200 yen or something.
Yeah, I was doing that as well the first time I moved to Japan as a content creator, just because like I obviously wanted to like read it, but also I didn't have the money to spend, right?
Yeah.
But like as I started to get a little bit more financially stable, doing the job and learning firsthand from a lot of like manga creators or like light novel authors that I would interview and meet. I now make it I make a conscious decision now to be like, if I want to buy any kind of manga that I'm currently enjoying or want to just like start reading a new manga, I would just go to like an actual proper bookstore so that I give the author the full, as much money as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then if I don't particularly enjoy it, then I'll just like resell it at a
Yeah.
Book Off.
All right. Yeah. So while I explain maybe quickly to people in the audience what Book Off is.
Yeah.
Joey's gonna refill us. I've also like off camera, like basically spilled half the sake now on the floor and on my pants.
It's like on his jeans, bro.
Whoops. But yeah, like if people don't know in the audience, like Book Off is this store in Japan where you can resell books, but also like games. They resell like consoles.
Secondhand store.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like in general,
It's really
Cheers.
good. Oh, cheers, man.
something that like I really appreciate about Japan. Like I've been really getting into records also again recently.
Hell yeah, let's go, dude.
I don't know. It's just when I first came here, I was kind of making fun. Or like it's like this thing about Japan where like, oh look, they still have DVD stores.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice.
They still have a
honestly.
Tower record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's honestly it has a lot of charm.
Oh,
Like
that's a
I appreciate that
Yeah.
it's like a thing here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why a lot of people like just like coming to Japan. It's not only shocker. people don't come to Japan just for the anime shit. Like some people just come
It's
to
only
Japan.
99%.
Yeah. It's only 99.5%. The other 0.5% actually come to Japan for, you know, I know a lot of, like, I have a friend who loves coming to Japan. He lives in Australia. He comes to Japan. I think he's been to Japan maybe 3 or 4 times. And he's like a huge retro head.
Nice.
So,
Just
like,
for that stuff.
Yeah. And like he loves coming to Japan to buy a lot of like retro like electronics and like retro like games and stuff like that,
that's sick.
because the scene in Japan is just so much more active and like accessible compared to anywhere in Australia.
Like it's just it almost forces you in like a very positive way to like engage with that stuff, because like I recently went to Ghibli Park and they just sell records with like the most beautiful Ghibli art on the cover, like Princess Moon. Like I just bought like 2 like for Kiki and for like Princess Mononoke. So like
I have the Princess Mononoke vinyl as well.
it looks, they come like, which one do you have? They have like 3 different ones, right?
Oh shit, I don't know. I bought one.
I got the one with the forest and then like the stag in front of the cover, but I know there's like, I think they had like 1 or 2 other ones too.
Yeah, I have the one with like Ashitaka and Sun on the front. Yeah.
Like the sound, like I don't know. There's just a vibe about having it. Like I'm actually, so very unrelated, I'm working on a video right now, like a little bit about that.
Oh yeah.
Like how like I got pulled a little bit into like that retro stuff, which I was never into, but I don't know. There is just something about preserving like that analog stuff. Like is that something like you personally feel too, where I feel like in general most people nowadays kind of have like almost this wish for, you know, like having things be easy again, like putting on, like I think we all listen to music, you know, like on like Spotify or whatever, or like Apple Music or whatnot, or YouTube Music. Hey,
YouTube Music's good.
Hey, YouTube, promote the video. but like there's just something different about actually actively like buying a piece of music, like an album, a soundtrack, and putting that on, like putting the needle on and like making the active effort of listening to it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's the process or if there's actually something to the sound of a record player. Like it just has such a vibe to it, and it fits. Like I'm not sure if it would sound the same if we were not living in Japan. Like I don't know if there is like this like anime factor about it, but
I think it depends on the music you're listening to be honest.
like
you know,
hardcore.
I mean, like, you know, I'm sure listening to the Persona 5 soundtrack while walking around Tokyo hits different to if you're walking around like New York, you know. But like, no, I completely agree though. Like I think the revival of retro technology, I think, is just a result of the fact that, well, 1, enough time has passed, and 2, now the newest generation, which I found out the other day, by the way, if you were born in 2024, you are now officially Generation Beta.
That's the worst generation to be in.
You are going to live the rest of your life being called a fucking beta.
Is there Generation Alpha too?
Yeah, it's before that. So Generation Alpha, I think it was born in, it's like 2015 onwards.
All right.
So basically the kids of today are now Generation Alpha.
What's before 2015 then? Is it Z?
Gen Z, yeah.
Okay.
It's Gen Z, and then what year were you born?
1996. So I'm like just
so
on
you're
the verge.
right on the end of millennial.
I'm like both millennial and Gen Z.
Yeah.
I would say I like had more of a millennial upbringing where I was like still running around the forest like with a stick pretending to have it like it's a sword.
Yeah, basically I think the best way to describe it is millennials were born or had a childhood where we were basically at the very beginning of the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
so I didn't have a like, and you probably have the same experience. Like the first phone I had was like a Nokia where like the one thing you could do on it is play Snake in black and white.
Yeah. The one that was like a brick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my dad, like I remember my dad, I was very young at that point, but like I remember my dad had like a flip phone that like you could flip sideways and it had a keyboard, and that was like the
BlackBerry?
Well, it was like I think it might have been a Samsung. It was like this. It had like an actual like computer keyboard in it.
Oh shit. Yeah, well the BlackBerry phones like had that where you could flip it on the side and like push it up and it had a keyboard.
I was like, that's the shit, that's the future. And then I think when I was like in middle school was like when first like Facebook and stuff started popping up. And that's when like things went downhill from there, I would say.
Yeah, pretty much. Once we all stopped playing Farmville, that's
Yeah.
when shit went down
Yeah.
the drain. But yeah, I think that's why like
Farmville, fuck.
I think that's why, for instance,
God.
you know, things like vinyls and like CDs and cassettes and stuff like that are coming back because people want to, because kids today, like especially a lot of the Gen Z, Gen Alphas, and now I guess from now on Gen Betas, which is hilarious to say.
I'm gonna be using that all the
Yeah.
time, man.
So you're a fucking beta. They don't know life without the internet.
Yeah.
You know, they were born into it. So I think they have that natural appreciation and wonder
even-
for the analog stuff, you know.
Yeah, even like a big chunk of like Gen Z, like if we were born in like past 2005 or something,
Mm,
which I guess that means you're like 20 this year,
yeah.
by the way, which blows my mind.
Yeah, which is scary.
Which- oh my god.
Yeah.
But like that, like you just know a life usually, like unless your parents probably actively made an effort of not giving you a phone or an iPad.
Well, they were the generation that didn't experience the family computer.
yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
you remember when there was only one computer in
Yeah.
the house and your mum had to get off the phone in order for you to use it?
Insane.
Kids don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
They have it in their pocket.
Yeah. For me, I remember like the first gaming console I ever had.
They
was,
didn't have to deal with One Piece episode 73, part 1 of 3 sub Espanol on YouTube.
Oh
They didn't have to live through that shit. We had to live through that shit. And it was the worst
For
when
real.
it was like part 1 of 3 and then you couldn't find part 2 of 3. But part 3 of 3 was there.
I feel like you know, like YouTube itself was already like so next level. Like I remember like the fact I don't even remember. It was very late that my family got Wi-Fi, so it was just like I just didn't have internet at home for like you like what we used to do was after school go to like a Starbucks because they had Wi-Fi. Like that was one of
really?
the first stores that had like Wi-Fi.
Dog, we didn't even have Starbucks. We were like,
What's the Aussie like the equivalent to Starbucks? It's like yeah.
just local, just the Maccas, I guess. But the Maccas didn't have fucking Wi-Fi.
We got Moon Bucket, bro.
Bro. Dude, Australians, I think it was like 2 Australians who invented Wi-Fi, and we got
Oh,
the worst
that's
Wi-Fi.
That's dude. Whenever I love complaining about Japanese internet, but
Yeah.
whenever I actually go back to Europe, I'm like, we're fucking living in the Stone Age right here.
What is there to complain about Japanese internet?
I don't know. Like I'm like, oh, I only have 100 megabytes a second. I'm like, oh my god, my 100 gigabyte video file is uploading so slowly.
So you remember I said that during the first like 2.5 years while I was still living in Australia, I was uploading daily.
Yeah,
Do you know what my upload speed was?
like kilobytes,
0.4
megabytes.
0.4 megabytes. I was uploading 400 kilobytes.
That's what it feels like, at least when I go back to Europe and try uploading
Yeah.
a video. It's like here in Japan, you're like, upload video to YouTube like 5 gigabytes. It's like, oh, like 6 minutes or something, or
Yeah.
5 minutes. Like you go back to Europe, it's like, how about 3.5 hours?
Oh, dude.
Like, what?
I fucking wish. Like a 1 gigabyte video would take me like 8 hours to upload. I had
That's
to leave my
crazy.
computer on. Like, so my daily process while I was uploading daily was I would go to uni during the day. I'd come back in the evening, make like 3 or 4 videos and like edit 3 or 4 videos because they were like super easy to edit
Yeah.
back then. I would start uploading them overnight and I would leave my computer on overnight while I slept. I would wake up the next morning and like
Still not
maybe it would be like 85%. And I would repeat
Wild.
that every day until one day my computer was like, I've
Nah,
had enough,
nah,
and
bro.
literally exploded into flames. My computer literally just went boom and just the
Caught fire?
motherboard just caught on fire.
That is insane.
And we looked inside and yeah, it was just like completely melted.
Look at us. Like we were making fun of the older generation. Now here we had like the 2 boomers right here complaining about the internet. It's like, yeah, I remember
kids
back
have
in
no
my day.
idea.
I remember back in my day when the Wi-Fi was only a megabyte per second.
No,
So
but,
true
like,
though. It's
yeah.
not true because I feel like did you actually have like real contact with like records and stuff when you were a kid? Because for me
Yeah.
it was like spending time at like my grandparents' house. Like I would
Oh,
like listen
yeah.
to records and stuff.
My dad has like an extensive record collection
Mm.
at home. So like my dad would always put on I grew up listening to my dad's music. So I was very much in tune with the whole like all the records and stuff like that. And me and my sister, you know, when we could scrape some money together, we would buy CDs.
That's so sick.
So we would have a CD player and stuff.
I feel like
that, yeah.
CD to me does not have the same level like of grit, I guess. It doesn't have like this like, I don't know. I feel like buying a record now is like such a like, oh, I'm having the album with the cover. I feel like having like, I would not buy myself a CD player. I feel like now.
We have a CD player.
Yeah, one at home.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like I've been collecting records for like pretty much since like uni.
Damn.
So like over 10 years now I've been collecting records, and like I've recently started collecting like CDs and cassettes.
Again, yeah.
Yeah,
Cassettes are cool.
Yeah, my dad, just this past Christmas, my dad gave me his. It's my mom's old cassette player.
Oh, that's cool.
Like she still had it, and like I have to get it fixed because I think the magnetic reader is kind of busted right now because it's a fucking 40-year-old cassette player. But that's the great thing about Japan. I can go to a fucking electronics store and they probably know how to fix it.
Yeah, they're still a person.
Yeah.
I watched a video like the other day about like quantum computing and how it might fuck up like the entire internet when it actually happens, because it's like probably possible to like decrypt all like encryption methods that are being used right now by every bank and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
So you better start hiding that money under your mattress.
Yeah, it's like we might need to go back to analog sooner or later anyways.
Yeah, so everyone needs to go out and buy a safe and throw your life assets into that safe.
So it's like we
don't do that.
Drink Saga is not providing any financial advice.
Yeah, we are. Disclaimer: we are drunk.
We are drinking.
We are drunk. This is a disclaimer. This is a One Piece podcast.
This is a One Piece. It's like speaking. What is your favorite crypto coin, right?
I really love the Luffy coin.
The Luffy coin. I would not be surprised that existed,
oh
bro.
My God.
Oh my god.
At least, you know what? I will give Oda the respect. At least he hasn't gone in that fucking direction.
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't have to.
Because I've seen so many. Did you see the one thing that really...
Wait, is that a thing?
Okay, I was about to say, you know Hanazawa Kana?
Yeah.
The world famous Japanese voice actress? You know, do you remember, I think it was like a year or two ago, she was like shilling out these like NFTs.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
And the internet was not happy about it. And we were just like, bro,
is anyone
you
still...
are like literally a multi-award winning anime voice actress.
Why do you
You
need
have
to?
the money. Why are you doing this?
Well, I'm also like, who at this point in their like, is anyone still buying NFTs? Like, is that still a thing?
Fucked if I know, man.
Like,
I didn't get it from the beginning.
It's the same, like, the Hawk Tua, like, bringing, like, hitting off all. We're playing podcast bingo today. But yeah, for the Hawk Tua girl, like, I'm like, really bad that you're scamming your audience, but at the same time, who in the year 2024, now 2025, is still buying, like, shit meme coins of, like, I do feel bad for the people. I do, but at the same time, like, I'm like...
Do you? I think they're idiots.
I really don't understand. Like, it's
like,
just,
I think if you're in 2024 and you're like, oh yes, I am going to buy a coin that has been promoted by this influencer that got famous for saying 2 words, it's like, bro, you deserve to lose all your money. I'm sorry. Like,
I'm still holding up. I'm still waiting for my crypto zoo though. I'm still waiting for that.
those eggs.
They're gonna hatch, dude.
They're gonna
I
hatch
still
one
believe in
day.
it. I have them. I have them in my wallet.
I'm hoping for my tiger.
I don't know. I've like, I know. I think I remember correctly. You guys are like not super like into like NFT and like stuff. Anyways, right?
No.
Like even Bitcoin. Like to this day, I'm like maybe does this. I hope it's me being the Markiplier, what Markiplier was for Honey, and being like, it just seems like it will explode at some point.
Right.
But I might just be like the old guy who like gets on the train way too late and then has like missed it. I was just like, to this day, I'm like,
yeah.
Like the thought of spending like some of my money on like Bitcoin feels like I might as well be like going to the casino in Vegas.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Look, like I will fully admit, like I just don't know what the fuck it is or how it works, and I don't want to put my money into something that I don't know. Like I watched multiple videos and documentaries and video essays on like this is how cryptocurrency works, and I'm just like,
Yo,
I
bro,
don't
bro.
get it.
No, you don't need. Trust me, bro.
Just trust me. Just put your life savings
just
into it.
Trust me, bro.
Just put your life savings into it because it's more stable than anything, and you'll be okay. Yeah,
Still
I don't
got
know.
some.
Like I just don't. Look, I can get by without putting my money into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to,
No,
look,
no.
I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell
No
you what
financial
the fuck to do.
advice on
Yeah,
drinks.
don't. Disclaimer: this is a One Piece podcast. All right, we're not here to give fucking financial advice.
Speaking of, now I remember what I wanted to talk to you earlier about. Bringing it back to One Piece. I think one thing that I guess I'm not directly bringing it back to One Piece, but at least anime and manga. One thing we talked a little bit about like our trading card addictions, like you Pokemon, me Magic, and one term I'm not sure if that exists for Pokemon, but it exists for Magic the Gathering. Is content fatigue that people talk about.
Okay.
Where basically there's like now Magic is like pumping out so many sets a year. It's like really hard to catch up, and like you need to buy this one, and there's like this special treatment for this card, and so on. And so forth.
That definitely exists in Pokemon.
It does it as well.
Yeah.
And so like this constant like FOMO thing.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit the anime industry has that. Or maybe I'm not sure if it still has it. It had that issue, and I feel like it almost has gotten away from that in a like nice. Or maybe I'm just like better at like choosing what to watch at the moment.
Yeah,
but
I think that's exactly what it is. I think year in and year out, it's become more. You know, if you go back to like say 10, 20 years ago, right? It was a lot easier to be able to watch everything that came out every season because they were just making less of it, and that's not because. You know, it's a number of factors, but the one thing is that the demand just wasn't as big as it is now. Because whether people like to admit it or not, anime now is mainstream. Like there's just no going around that. And because it is mainstream, the audience has gotten bigger, the demand has gotten bigger, and therefore, you know, at the end of the day, the anime industry is a business, and they need to answer to those demands. And so, what do? You have to just keep pumping out stuff. And naturally now you'll have seasons that are like, you know, 40, 50, you know, separate series that are coming out in the span of 3 months. It's like, there's no way you're going to be able to watch all of that.
It's pretty crazy also. Like, I guess now actually bringing it back to One Piece, how just by the fact that it has been running for almost 30 years now, you have such different audiences in like one franchise. And I guess this goes similarly for like stuff like Star Wars or something. But you know, I'm like, someone who started watching or reading it when it first came out is going to have like such a different experience today than like if you're like, you know, 13 and getting into it for the first time and you're like, oh, this is like I think that's super fun.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's become a multi-generational show now and franchise that is, you know, has its benefits but also has its demerits as well. And I think the people who like, you know, people like us, for instance, who have been there and, you know, even the older generations who have been there from the very, very beginning are going to look at the One Piece franchise in a very, very different way to someone who is watching it for the first time nowadays, right?
Or in 2030, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's actually get a little bit more nitty-gritty than now with One Piece.
Sure.
I'm going to give you like some rapid fire stuff.
Okay.
Some of it submitted by dear people on Patreon, so a little plug here if you want to. Thank you, patrons. If you want to put some questions for guests, then you can do that there, I guess. I felt I've had too much sake.
Give Manu some money.
The plug is not working.
Boy needs to pay his bills.
Boy needs to pay his artists and like the poor editors who make the videos who need to sift through this. Okay, so first question is like I'm just gonna do a few rapid fire ones.
Okay.
Just so the people know, like favorite character.
Crocodile.
Do you know okay, I'm already going off the rapid fire questions, but do you know the theory that Crocodile is Luffy's mother?
I did hear about that. I thought it was a meme though.
Okay, so just to fill you in, just so you're like on top of the theory game in the One Piece world, the theory is that during Impel Down, which I guess you tried to revisit recently.
Yeah.
It like Crocodile. Do you remember the character Ivankov? The like the Okama. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like they have like the hormone powers, right? Yeah. They can change gender, and so Crocodile said, like they tell Crocodile, oh, like I know your dark secret, and so the theory has been that Crocodile used to be a girl, and then maybe like that used to be. Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
It's like this type of theory where it's like half mean, half.
So I get the whole like, you know, the transformation on Crocodile's part, but how does that relate to his connection with Luffy?
Well, it's kind of like how suddenly Crocodile is like becomes Luffy's ally, and then like even protects him with his life during the war.
That's when Crocodile became my favorite character. Yeah. Was when during Impel Down, he kind of like started to come around to Luffy and was just like, You kicked my ass in the past, but I got your back, bro. And I'm just like, let's go, Crocodile.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Also, his voice in the anime is so good.
So
good. Whoever that voice actor is, I get a hard on every time I listen to.
Little fun.
Sorry, what was that? It's like, keep talking.
I've recently been like, I've been trying to work a little bit more on my Japanese accent, so I've been using Blackbeard's voice actor as like he has this little really cute little podcast of like a mouse, and he's just answering like he's just reading fan letters
With that voice?
I'm just
Hell
but no,
yeah.
it's not the black. It's like his actual voice, but his actual voice slaps too.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so good. Like you know, also he's voiced so many legendary characters.
Oh, yeah,
It's
he's
so
a
good.
legendary voice actor.
So yeah, he's been just like really fun, like using as like a shadowing target to just like get like a little bit better
Hell yeah.
Japanese pronunciation.
Hell yeah.
Okay, next question. Favorite devil fruit? Do you have one?
Ooh, favorite devil fruit.
Or if you could eat one, I guess.
If
Only-
I could eat one, honestly, which one's Buggy's one again?
Oh, the bara.
Bara bara no mi?
Yeah,
I think bara bara no mi would be so useful
that's pretty good.
because I could literally just be sitting here and I'll be like, I'm gonna go get a drink, and then just shoot my hand
pretty
out
good.
and just go get it.
I'm kind of curious. Do you think I guess you don't see where you're going though, right?
I guess not.
You're just like feeling your way
Yeah,
down.
I'll just feel my way
Like,
around. I just feel like,
that's still pretty
I
good.
think that's it.
That's
yeah.
still pretty good. I
Yeah.
like that.
Or if it's like somewhere like across the room, for instance, then I
Yeah,
can just be
yeah.
like, boop.
That's
you know,
true. That's
and
pretty
go
good.
get it.
Yeah.
That would
Or you
it would just be handy.
It would be great for vlogging. You
Yeah,
could
yeah,
just
yeah.
like hold the camera
Yeah.
and like do like a drone shot.
Yeah.
Like that. Going up.
I could do like a really cinematic shot
Yeah.
from like really far away and just be like, woo.
Hi guys. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Favorite arc you already said, Water 7.
Water 7. Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, like, I freaking love Frankie. Like, he's probably, out of the Straw Hat crew, he's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a close tie between him and Robin for me. But like the backstory in Water 7 with Frankie, like that's one of my favorite like flashback arcs of One Piece.
I mean, it has both. Like Water 7 and his lobby has both Robin and Frankie.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, I remember just like the sheer awe I felt while reading Water 7. Like it's just it's so good. That scene when they come and fucking rescue Robin.
Let's go.
And she says the "Ikitai" like line. I'm just like, oh, let's go.
Iggy.
And then Usopp like shoots the flag down. Fucking love that scene.
It's like written really cool in the manga too. Like she says like Igitai because she's like bawling her eyes
Yeah,
out.
and that scene's so powerful as well because it's the first time you see Robin just snap.
Yeah, and break. Yeah, and
break.
actually like say that she wants to live.
Yeah, and she
By
like
the way, she's been getting a lot of really good character development and
really?
stuff happening
Hell yeah.
recently as well. Yeah. One interesting thing, like quickly going off of the rapid fire questions that I also wanted to talk to you about. Now remember, I thought about this at the beginning of the podcast and then I couldn't think about it. Is how would you explain to like non-Japanese speakers who really are into anime and manga? Would you say for you that there's a really big like different I'm not even sure if you do consume anything in English at all, but for me, like being someone who reads both the like Japanese and the English translation of One Piece, or it's not a translation in Japanese obviously, but like there are so many things to me for One Piece particularly because of all the deep lore and like the little like Easter eggs that Oda hides in there, but anime and manga in general, like how much do you feel like gets lost because certain things just don't translate?
I mean, when I watch anime, for instance, sometimes I'll, have to put on English subtitles if I'm like, say, watching it with Arky, for instance, right? And like I'll just be listening, but obviously because it's on the screen, I can't avoid looking at the subtitles. So sometimes I'll read the subtitles, and I can't say how it is for One Piece necessarily. But for other anime, I do find it interesting that for example, like I wouldn't translate it in that certain way, or there are different like ways that you can translate a certain line in Japanese because they're such different languages that there is kind of like it really is up to the personal interpretation, really.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because obviously for certain stories, like if it's like a sports manga or something,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter so much if you're being liberal with the translation.
Yeah,
But
some series it doesn't matter, but like some other series that is very like, for instance, where the dialogue is very important, like say for example the Monogatari series,
Yeah.
right? Where like I think the Monogatari this is just an excuse for me to talk about Monogatari. It's my favorite anime. For example, I've always found it fascinating that the Monogatari series is even popular with English speakers because
I didn't know that. I thought it's like more like a Japanese thing.
well, it is a Japanese thing, but also there's a pretty sizable audience outside of Japan that loves the shit out of the
That's
Monogatari.
crazy. I
Like
didn't
it's
know
not
that.
just me. And I always found that.
I swear, guys.
I swear it's not just me and my audience. There are people who love Monogatari, but I always found that fascinating because if you watch the anime, and this is not me saying that the translation is bad necessarily. It's great. It works, but the thing with Nishio Ishin, the creator, is that he is such a master at wordplay in Japanese that is almost impossible to translate into English. Or if you can translate it into English, it loses the point.
Yeah.
And it loses the meaning. So I feel really bad for people who have to translate from Monogatari.
Oh, yeah.
Because that shit must be so hard to do.
I mean, like, it's even, like, in case you're not familiar with that show, I started reading it, like, the light novels, and it's kind of like Fate.
Well, it's not even a light novel, it's a novel.
Or a novel,
Yeah.
And it's so, like, you need a guide to actually know where to start. And
It's
what to
difficult
read in
even
in
for
what
Japanese
order.
people, yeah.
Okay, bring it back to, I think, one other Patreon question we had, and this is, I'm not sure if you have an answer to this, but how do you think that Usopp will become a brave warrior of the sea? That's, we're like going, at least we're going really specific now.
So, wait, repeat the question?
So you know how each of the Straw Hats has like a certain dream?
Yeah.
So Luffy wants to be Pirate King.
Yeah.
Nami wants to make a map of the world and so on.
Yeah.
So Zoro,
Oh
strongest
yeah,
swordsman.
Usopp wants to be the lord of
Usopp
the
wants to
ocean.
become a brave warrior of the sea.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess the question there is, I guess it's more thematic now with Elbaf because he has all these connections to the giants because he befriends all the giants
Oh, okay.
throughout the story.
Right.
Like, do you have like, is that something you ever thought about, like what that could mean?
I mean, look, if Oda has plans to, like, at the end of the, maybe the epilogue of One Piece, where we get to actually see every single member of the Straw Hat crew be able to, like, actually fulfill their dreams, and fucking Usopp is there with his giant buddies and
Let's
is
go.
like, being like the Lord, then fuck it. Hell yeah.
Let me hit you with something else. What would you think if, like, let's say Usopp sacrifices himself for Luffy and actually dies
Ooh.
and becomes a brave warrior that way?
From a narrative perspective, I think that would be sick as fuck if done correctly. Because that is the whole, like, sacrificing yourself and actual, like, permanent death in the One Piece world, I feel is like,
Rare.
Oda
It's just Ace.
Oda uses it very, very sparingly, but I think that's a good thing. If you because you could end up doing, like, a fairy tale thing where, like, you kill Makarov 5 times and at the end of it he's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that.
No,
right?
no. It needs to be permanent, and
Yeah.
otherwise,
I think when Oda does do permanent deaths in One Piece, it's done in a very, very tasteful way, and he understands that overdoing it is, like, the worst sin you can commit in any kind of story. So I think if he is saving up for something like that, where, like, a pretty prominent member of the Straw Hat crew does die in the end for, like, a sacrificial means, then I think it'll be one of the most insane moments.
I think
in
it
manga
could.
and
It
anime.
could, like, even though it would obviously suck as a fan.
Yeah, as someone who loves Usopp as a character, it would suck. But as someone who is a fan of great storytelling and One Piece, if he can do it right,
I think
that
it would be the best moment. Yeah,
amazing.
I think like viewers of the channel will know that I've been advocating to kill Usopp for quite a while now.
What do you have against Usopp, bro?
Nothing. I love him. I think
Yeah.
it would just make him, like, the most legendary character in the story.
for sure.
Like, it would hurt, but
Yeah.
like, it would be such an epic.
You can't
moment.
imagine, but could you imagine any other character in the Straw Hat crew doing something like that?
I mean, I could.
Would
like,
or does Usopp make the most sense?
well, I mean, you
narrative-wise?
did have I'm not sure if you remember this from Thriller Bark, which is like also still like pre-time skip,
Yeah.
where like Zoro takes all of Luffy's pain, like the nothing happened
Yes,
moments.
I do remember that.
Yeah, so there's been like moments like this, but I feel like Zoro dying to me, like, still cool, but he's kind of like the type of character who, like, for him it almost wouldn't be like a big deal. Like, he's like,
That's
this
true.
is part of my, like, Bushido, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sacrifice myself for Usopp though.
Yeah,
who's like the
it's
big
the
coward.
it's the juxtaposition between him being a coward, but
Yeah.
also him being so up himself that would make that sacrifice that much more
Exactly.
meaningful. Yeah, no, okay, I totally get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, again, it would be hype as shit if Oda does it right, and I'm sure, knowing Oda's abilities, I'm sure he'll do it right if he does it.
He could.
But
I'm just not sure if like his editors will allow it.
yeah, I feel like Shueisha will be like, hold up.
Can't kill the merchandise, bro.
Yeah, don't.
It's like killing Chopper. No.
There's a lot of Usopp fans out there that won't be happy.
All right. I guess most important final question. When do you plan to catch up to One Piece? And once you do, you're gonna have to come back onto the
Yeah,
podcast.
I'll tell you what. The next time I come back onto this podcast is when I would have caught up to One Piece,
All right.
and I will try and make that happen.
Ooh,
Soon-ish.
soon. 2045 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've heard it here first.
Stick around for about 10 years, and I'll finally get
Yep.
there.
All right. So, obviously, Joey's very small and upcoming YouTube channel is going to
Yeah.
be linked in the description
Please
below.
help me.
Please
I,
help him. Please subscribe. He needs
Yeah,
all the
I
help
need some
he
more
can get.
subs, bro.
But also, I think more importantly for you, you have your own fashion brand now.
Oh yeah, nonsense.
So if you guys want to get some really cool drip,
Check it out, nonsense.jp.
it's in the description below. Like
Yeah.
that's actually like you guys do some really, really cool stuff over
Oh,
there.
thank you, man.
So I've been like really hyped. I know I have some. I probably can't share it on the podcast yet, but I know
Mm.
you guys have some sick stuff coming up for this
We
year.
do.
Or
So-
like the past year since this comes out in December, obviously.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
so
I
you'll
forgot.
already know about it, actually.
Actually, we can talk about it. Yeah. Otherwise, it was like a real pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah, for
I
sure, dude.
appreciate it.
Thanks for
And-
inviting me.
Yep. You guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, and if you're still listening, you should like now stop playing this video. You can now stop cooking, or like you need to find something else to listen to now.
Yeah. Go listen to like
the last episode or something.
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
or you can go to his Patreon,
Oh,
which is on screen right now.
Yeah.
And support our brother,
oh my God.
because O'Hara deserves all the support he can get.
I will
So
say,
please
yeah,
do so.
like we need to pay our artists, and
Exactly.
they do all this, make all this happen.
Exactly. So go support him.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Talk to you in the next one.
See ya.